This is going to be a tight one to rank. They're a very consistent band.
Grug had a prior band of that kind of medium-paced 90s indie who recorded quite a bit, but I'm still going to skip. They were onto something toward the end, but they were also onto the end.
Then there's Feline, who are the first band with the members of Die Fluid in them. This first album is some promising gothy post-punk, but maybe it's all still promising rather than entirely fulfilling. It's one of those debut albums that's hugely dominated by its lead single and first track, and that one's pretty much a classic, and then all the rest of it can't necessarily match up. Now, bit of a fake out, the same album again with some extra tracks thrown in, which technically makes it better. It's the same material and more. Better cover, worse name. Yeah, I guess we can forget about that bass version.
So they had a second album, but they had to rename, and then they didn't even get to release it for decades. And the thing is, it's really good. It's the skills of Feline applied with more consistency, so now most of the songs feel like the tentpole song, making it more of a well-supported canopy. Yeah. Upcycled flinch tracks sound great now. This is 90s punk from 2000.
After all that confusion, we've finally got the Fluid. It starts out with an EP, only 4 tracks long, and that's close to my grounds for ineligibility on this series, but it's a real powerful 4 tracks. With the new name comes a new sound, a lot more hardcore, quite metallic. It felt more up-to-date and more potent. Maybe when I rank this, it's also representing the other non-album tracks from the time, but yeah, good EP. And they continued that formula for a full album of nuggets of pop metal. I feel the songwriting is present, but not entirely the performance structure. As a 3-piece band, maybe they could do with a bit more layers to it. The bass line tends to just follow the guitar line, and yeah, that's difficult whilst also singing. But maybe it could do with more guitar lines too. It's good content, it's just the sound's a bit incomplete on this one. To be fair, this one is soundtrack fair. It's fair. Then, how come no one else gets to appear on the album covers? Yeah, it's continuing the same approach with a bit more established experience and thus a bit more proficiency. It's very metal riffing. You can even hear the truck door riff on this. Just kind of the same thing again, but better. Good work. See, that also describes the third album, so I'm gonna have to come up with something better to say.
This is a more diverse set with ever-solidifying musicianship, but not quite boasting the heights of that last one.
Thanks, post-production me.
Hey, anytime.
Then they took it in a kind of somber concept album direction. Love the title. This is notably longer than all of their other works, arguably a double album, but really comparatively quantity doesn't balance out what we've got here. It's just got less charisma to it. I think they've made exactly what they were trying to express, and it's important to go for that sometimes, but it just made me rank it below the rest. And then, with Tragedy, comes an absolutely renewed focus. I guess maturity didn't exactly take and it didn't suit them that well. This is back to good fun. The sound is nicely full now. They've got some good keyboard lines padding it out. This feels like a great pop metal album from the early 2000s, which they already almost made. And that's the Fluid. They're still making some singles. I don't know if there'll be more albums, but they're still good at it. This is independent music with a strong idea of what it wants to be, and they've pursued that for coming up to 3 decades now.